Hey guys, welcome to the channel. My name's Max. Channel's name's The Covered Caller. You can find me on X at Max Convexity Man. What's up, Jackson? My little dog's name is Jackson. Jackson, what's the matter? You want to come over here and make an appearance? I don't think so. So look at this. I don't know if you guys saw my last video. I was fighting with Claude, but I erased it. But anyway, look, I finally got Claude straightened out, and look what he's doing to me. I mean, well, anyway, the good news is he works, but this AI has an attitude. I mean, I went back and forth with Claude all morning. He's letting me know how he feels, I guess, but that's fine. We did get some stuff resolved. Down here, I guess, when the charts aren't working, and I think this is good also. I need to have him take the debug view off here, but I think current data to look at it in just a format, just instead of not graphs and just in numbers. Like ULTY since inception is down 17.55. It's the same thing, but I was just having to hover over it. It's nice to be able to just look at it this way. But for today, it's actually up half a point. Blocks is up 1.2. But the good news and the middle finger that's sticking out at me is Rex. And that's, but I'll take it because that's 3.32%. I mean, that's a good up move. And that's also maybe the reason Rex is giving me the middle finger, because I chickened out and didn't buy it when I had a chance a few weeks ago. I could have got it a lot cheaper, but oh well. I have some good ones in here, though. And then K-Yield is having its usual steady day kind of in between the bunch of them. I still like the graph better, but this is nice to have it going this way also. So that's just a dashboard. And then I don't know if this works yet, but anyway, whatever. We can look at the positions though, but I'm interested, and let's look at the charts. I'm interested that ULTI is having such a good day. I like to see that. Yeah, look at this, 3.43% right now. And I'm overlaying that with Bitcoin. You can see these ULTI and ULTY are highly correlated, but all these are somewhat correlated to Bitcoin, but especially some of the riskier ones. All right. Well, in any event, let's look over here let's look at blocks and see how it's been doing. It pretty much is 100% correlated to Bitcoin. You can see that. Look at the chart. I mean, blocks did make a new high up here when Bitcoin was not, and that was a sign Bitcoin was going to dump too. If we see that again, we need to freaking do something about that. But anyway, hopefully Bitcoin's bottomed. Hopefully Bitcoin bottomed right here. It made a higher low. It's made a higher low here. Let's look at this one. Now this one has at least stabilized, but of course it has because Bitcoin's way up. Anyway, Bitcoin will keep going up. That'd be wonderful. That would be wonderful. And then what else? Let's look at oil. Let's not forget about K-Yield. K-Yield is a steady eddy. And look at K-Yield compared to the other ones. Now, K-Yield's not as correlated to Bitcoin as those other ones. And the other ones are becoming less so on a daily basis. The other ones are partially correlated to Qs also. But for this one, it'd be probably a lot better. Oh, that's Coinbase. Well, no, it's Bitcoin. Okay, I'm sorry. I was going to say, let's look at this one for the Qs. Yeah, you can see this one's more highly correlated with the Qs because the Qs really haven't made a higher low. Not that that's bad. I mean, they've made higher lows, but they're barely, they just working straight up the channel. But man, that's a good look for these guys. And so, yeah, if we go back to the Diversified Divas dashboard, I guess that one's not working, but at least this one's working. So, you can see right there, K-Yield out of all of them, and these other ones have had some good days, bouncing back, some definite good days. But K-Yield is the closest to being recovered. Heck, K-Yield's outperforming WPay that I know a lot of you guys like. It's outperforming LFGY, of course, but it's not outperforming GPTY, QLDY, and Chippy. Chippy's something else lately anyway. All right. So am I sharing the screen? It looks like I'm sharing the screen. All right. There's only 3 people watching this, and that's fine. That's fine. I just wanted to show what we missed this morning. So let's go here and see what ULTI has in the portfolio that's doing so well. Or we can look at what they all have, but right here is ULTI. So with the caveat, this is yesterday's portfolio. They don't change a lot. I mean, it's probably very close to today's portfolio. They may not have made any trades. Maybe that's why they didn't update the spreadsheet. So in any event, we can see what's up. It's this Applied Digital 7.42, and then they have CoreWeave up 8.6. Nebius. I had to check that. I couldn't believe CoreWeave's really up that much. Man, they are in the right place at the right time. These guys are. What else did they get? Nebius. Nebius. Oh, yeah, NBIS, of course. Heck yeah. All right, great job, ULTI. So they had that. They had Nebius. They have NNE, Nano Energy, that's up 8%. Holy cow. Look at this. They have AST Space Mobile up 18%. Wow. Rocket Lab, Bloom Energy. Is Bloom Energy really up 14%? You got to be kidding me. Well, this is the bounce back day that this fund needed. It needs more of these. I mean, they all do, but this is oh my gosh. Now, Howard from Curve has a big long only position in this, but he's also capped out at 106. Anyway, he's reached full profit. I'm sure he'll roll out. I mean, that was a good call to go long Bloom Energy. He owns the 50 strike call, and he sold the 106 strike call. So it's a call spread. So just a diagonal spread. It's a synthetic collar, though. Limited loss. It's a synthetic collar. Anyway, all right. So, but heck yeah, that's awesome. That's why I came back on to do another update this morning. Of course, the charts weren't working and stuff, but man, there's some good stuff to look at today. Look at this. Galaxy Digital is up 4.1. Viking Therapeutics up 11. It just keeps on. Oh my gosh. I wonder what that ETF mean by Roundhill's up. That's a good ETF, right? I mean, it has these types of stocks in it. I bet it's killing it today. Yeah, it's up 7%. When are they going to come out with the meme Y and just do a total return swap on this or something? That'd be awesome. Did any of you guys hear Matt Holcomb from Rex he was on a live Spaces today on X? Great show. It kept kicking me off the stream for some reason. My X never works. I get on streams for 5 minutes, then it kicks me off. And I got back on and listened to about 5 minutes anyway. So then I forgot to sign back on. So I heard about 10 minutes of it, but he was talking about this today, TS2. I'm sure you guys heard it. He was talking about TS2 and saying that it's outperforming the Tesla, and NV2 is, and man, that's a good plan they have there. He was talking about how they do the leverage and all that kind of stuff. I'm sure you guys heard it. Hey, Health and Wealth, how you doing, bud? Thanks for being here. Yeah, happy Thursday. So I don't know if I remembered to talk about it this morning, but I'm having a next Friday, not tomorrow, but next Friday. You know how I have a TGIF show every Friday, and it's a good time. Well, next Friday is the Max office Christmas party. So I asked other influencers to swing by next Friday. I've talked to Amy and I've talked to Retire, and I'm sure Coach will show up. And I'll put the invitation out there. But we're going to have an office, an influencer office party, and maybe I could even talk some of these fund managers into making an appearance, kind of like the thing Rod did back in what was that, October, right? No, it was November. It was like the second week of November or something. Yeah, November 9th or something. Anyway, I'm gonna do something like that, but we're gonna have an office Christmas party. So anyway, you guys are all invited. Yeah, and it'll be a Friday evening. It's gonna be after the market closes, so everyone will be chill. And it's the same time. There's really a lot of office Christmas parties. That Friday it's a huge party season, but that next Friday, everyone has an office Christmas party. I mean, it seems like. So anyway, we'll have one here at the we'll have one here. But no, I'm just glad that this turned around. Let's go look and see if some of the other companies are taking advantage of these big up moves. And the thing about ULTI, yesterday in my update or in this morning, if you saw my update, I mentioned that these guys aren't hedged. All their positions have the identical number of calls and puts. Last week, they were doubling up on one leg, effectively collarizing the trade. Well, they don't have any callers, and boy, they don't need any because the market's going up. I mean, of course, they don't know that in advance, but they're totally unhedged here, I believe. Yeah, they're totally unhedged. So they just have miles and miles of upside. Let me show you one of their trades. I have one of their, and we can look at some of Alti's trades too, ULTY's trades. But we're talking ULTI from Rex right now. This is an example of one of their trades. This Credo, yeah, this is a good example. So they have, in this case, they have 1,800 shares of Credo, and I mean, they've had it for a while now. So I have it. I picked it up at 171. I mean, and Credo's trading at 184. So the shares are up from 171 to 184. I didn't get their exact fills on this, but I put it into option strat the same day they put it on. So it was somewhere around this price and around these option prices. So then they turned this 4-leg overlay on top of it. And if I turn off the shares, the overlay just gives you a situation that looks like this. It's an iron butterfly. It's related to an iron condor. But anyway, you want range-bound prices. But because they also have the stock, what they really want is range-bound prices or prices that run away and go up. But that's why lightning spreads add a little bit of extra risk on the downside, because if they do miss on this side, even though they're capped, they still experience a little loss, and then they have the loss from the stock. So that's a double whammy. But in any event, these guys are doing a great job. That's the typical Credo trade. And here's the way they were doing it last week. Let me see. So last week they were doing this. They always do basically the same strategy, but last week they would have, and the week before that, when the market was selling off, they started putting these on where they double up on the out of the money leg. Hang on, gosh darn it. My apologies. Thank you for your patience. I think you'll like this if you just watch. Okay, so this was the strategy they had on last week. They did an overlay like this. They still had a little extra loss on the downside, but their overlay didn't contribute to unlimited downside. But no, even when the shares were on, and the shares are on now, let's see. Yeah, the shares are on. No, shares are not on. Well, somehow it got messed up. But anyway, they don't need no stinking hedges this week. Well, I don't know how it got messed up, but anyway. But let's look at the ULTY from YieldMax trades. So they have this one on. They put it on yesterday. I don't have the exact fills, but the same thing. As soon as I heard about it, I put it on at the end of day prices. So this is what you could have put this position on at the end of the day. Is that 900,000 shares at around 43.96? And they step out here on IRIN, and granted, this option has 105 IV. So this $1.50 is like 4 times as much as it would be if it was like on Apple or something, or 3 times as much as it would be on Google. So they're monetizing that. And because they're going out of the money, they have potential upside between, we'll call it 44 and 48. So 4 points of upside times $900,000. And then what they do to cover the downside is not really a lot of downside coverage. It just stops kind of a worst case scenario. It just limits the loss to 20%. Okay, but this is 5% of the portfolio. So 20% times 5% is 1%. So the most this trade can hurt the portfolio as a whole is 1%. But in any event, so that's the IRIN trade, and that trade, that's what it's worth at expiration. But right now it's worth about 700,000, but they're still rooting on the market to go up. It's still a bullish play on the market. Even though it's a covered call and even though it's fully capped, it doesn't mean they can't get upside. It just means they can't get as much upside as a stock. But this position could, in fact, if the market would go up, this position has a lot of potential. If the market would go up and 5% by tomorrow, which is a lot, but they would go from they would triple their profit. They have about $600,000 profit. They get 1.9 or something in a 5% up move. If they can get a 1% up move or 2.5% up move, it's worth $1.4 million. And right now they're at 900,000. A 1% up move by tomorrow would make this go to $1 million. So they definitely have upside convexity and stuff. But it levels off, then they get, in a 20% move or whatever, they still get some upside, but it's not at the rate they deserve to get upside. Hey, Jason. Yeah, shalom. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, do you guys think my office Christmas party idea is a good idea? We always have a good time on Friday evening anyway. Friday evening is when the market closes. It's pretty chill. And we'll probably do it. I told everyone 4 to 6, but I'll probably do it, 4 to 6 Eastern time. So as soon as the market closes, lots of times I wait till 5, but just so the East Coast guys can get there. As soon as the market closes, I'll try to have like a 2-hour live stream. And Retire said he could be there, for a little while. And so did Health and Wealth. So I think it'll be a good time. I bet other people can make time in their schedule. Hopefully Coach will stop by and maybe Brad and some other people. Anyway, I just wanted to come on here since now I have everything working and do a makeup session for today. But that iron trade's doing well for ULTY. This is the JBL trade they put on. This thing's up 450,000. And it should be said, so this trade is up 450,000 about. This is what they're really doing. This right here, the way I figure what they should be up is I just multiply what position of the company or, what the allocation is times however much the fund's up. So that's just an estimate, but these right here should be pretty darn close to what he's actually up. But I just have to do something for comparison. So I just look at JBL and if JBL's up 2%, I say the whole thing ought to be up 2%. Just as a benchmark, but this right here can and will be different. But I think this is a lot more fun to look at because we can see as they get capped out. But if they think it's going to keep going until tomorrow, they probably want to keep this one on because they still have a lot of convexity. I mean, a 3-point rise gets them, it's a $1.1 million winner. A 3-point fall is a $366,000 loser. See, the options are giving them asymmetry because they have some sold options in here too that are decaying, and it's helping. Well, it's helping. The sold options are helping offset the decay from the put, and then you have stock, so you're also just rooting on the stock to go up. I mean, these it's a genius plan. This is a covered call. It's what did I call it the other day? It's a covered strangle. It's a collarized strangle. It's a covered strangle collar, but it's a good one. Anyway, that's up 400,000 for them, but they have on just regular collars too. JBL Micron. I think Micron is a regular collar. Yeah. Just buy stock, sell a call, buy a put. And they don't have on them to downside. See, most of them, it looks like they can lose. This one, if it goes down 12%, they hit max loss. So they have it hedged under 12%. Yeah. It's like these are like buffer funds, or it's the same thing a buffer fund does, or it's a similar thing to what a buffer fund does. Or it's exactly, a buffer fund, they sell calls and buy puts, and it's exactly what a buffer fund does. All right, so All right, guys. Well, there's 21 of you here. I'm out of stuff to talk about. If there's any questions you have, put them in the comments. If not, that's fine. I just wanted to come on and check into these trades. ULTI's Credo trade is up as well. It should be said that okay, now it's a smaller, even though it's not up as many dollars, it's that fund has smaller assets under management. So, and this is how that trade looks at expiration, but of course it's not expiration. It's right like here. So that's what these guys are doing. They're doing a great job. Everything works when the market's going up, right? I mean, look at this gold trade from ULTY. I think they may have taken this one off though, but this is a ULTY gold trade. Yeah, it's fully capped, sure, but I mean, that trade's been a big winner for them. It's up. I think they took it off at the end of the day yesterday, but they locked in a huge profit on that. All right, health and wealth. How am I feeling about this? Is that on the screen? Okay, it is. How am I feeling about let's put the stock market up so we can see it trading. I should have just put Bitcoin up. That's all that matters. But all right, this is just a grind fest. There's a 30-minute chart to look at while we're visiting. All right, how do you feel about ULTY changes over the last few weeks? I'm working on sorting their spreadsheet as we speak. Well, yeah. So here's what I thought. When I first saw it, I thought that the lower IV companies mixed in there, and I just did a real quick calculation, would lower the dividend to 60 or 65, which would just make it mathematically about 20 or 25 points easier to get to the break-even line for the assets to overwhelm the NAV depletion. But it looks like I was wrong about that. It's paying like 75, 76% even still. So then that's because they threw in the extra option, and I wasn't really factoring that in. I did think about it in the back of my head, but I didn't think about it enough. So they figured out a way to kind of have their cake and eat it too. So anyway, so I think it's I think two things. It should be a little bit less risky as far as should move up and down a little bit less, just because it has stocks that are a little bit lower beta in there. But it's still going to have the same deficit to have to overcome, just from a math perspective. Now, here's the other thing I think they did. I think they decoupled it from being linked to basically Bitcoin. And I think with the way they have it now, also the old fund, the old fund didn't correlate with each other. They had all uncorrelated bets. But this one, they put some correlated bets in there. So they increased the correlation to the market, decreased the correlation to Bitcoin, but they did an option trick where they basically left the yield the same. So the math is still challenging, to say the least. I was thinking the math might get a little bit easier for them, but at the end of the day, with these portfolio funds, it's going to come down to, are they able to get outperformance out of their portfolio that they move, like ULTI doing a great job today getting outperformance from the funds it moved in. The funds that it has are up way more than IBIT, way more than the Qs, however you want to index it. You could index it to the Russell also. So yeah, but at the end of the day, it just comes down to they have to pick stocks that appreciate enough to offset the dividend. I'm doing some content on that now that should be out soon. But yeah, that's a good question. So you're sorting through their spreadsheet. What I always do is just make it a table and then sort it alphabetically, and it'll give you the stock and the options together. And I mean, that's what I usually do. So anyway, but yeah, I'm just glad to see ULTI recovering. So let's go back but let's look at who's correlated to what. Or let's do it like this. So here is all ULTI, and we'll test it. We'll look at it, and let's see, is that dividends off or on? Probably should just leave them off. Yeah, that does not include dividends, so that's good for these types of tests. But remember, your performance isn't going to be as bad as this. I mean, if you include the dividends, once you factor in the dividends, but this is just NAV only. So ULTI, so let's try to correlate it with Maybe, well, let's look at IBIT. I think it's pretty much going to be, or it doesn't have to be IBIT. It could be HODL, or let's just look at HODL. The VanEck Bitcoin, new price scale. All right, and we have the Qs up there as well, so it might be more fair to compare this to, hang on. Okay, so there's HODL. I mean, you know, it looks pretty dang close to that. I mean, let's do it like this. Okay, so that's the Qs. It really hasn't had as steep of recovery. The recovery looks more reminiscent of HODL. Let's do this. Let's see what the Russell looks like, because I think a lot of these are smaller DeFi and smaller tech offerings with the higher beta. Now, it doesn't look that good. I think the guys that are following, well, I mean, that actually looks pretty. Actually, once you factor in dividends, because dividends do, I mean, they do count. I mean, when you factor in dividends, I bet the chart kind of looks like that. Let me go turn dividends back on. This is how your investment's doing, not how the NAV's doing. It doesn't look quite as good as that. It looks similar to HODL. It's just, I mean, that's its jam. It's going to invest in those types of companies, or it has been so far. Now, Blocks is pretty much all in on those types of companies, right? Blocks, I would think, should be, and we have more history going back with Blocks. Yeah, but look at this back here when, you know, it does pretty much, if this goes sideways, so does this. This will rally and make a new high when this does. This will rally, I mean, this will make a new low when this does. I don't think these things are that correlated to the Russell. None of their, but this chart right here, Blocks is the most out of the three of them. It hasn't bounced back to the degree, but the bounce back has the same shape as that right there. They have a lot of that kind of exposure. All right, let's look at Bitcoin one more time before we go. We don't need the comparisons on anymore. But anyway, all right, well, we know what we want to root for. We just need higher Bitcoin prices. We just want higher Bitcoin prices. Well, and also higher tech stock prices. Let's check NASDAQ futures. I mean, you know, that looks pretty good. I mean, I hope we don't just roll over. But even if we do, that's fine. It's going to happen at some point. Make a higher low and then go take out the high by the end of the year. That's my plan. We'll see. We shall see. All right, guys. Well, thank you very much. Remember, not financial advice. Check all of this stuff you hear with the licensed financial planner. And other than that, I will talk to you guys later. And I certainly appreciate you guys being here. All right.